Mayor Roland Dyke.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Here.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Here.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Here.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Here.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Here.
City Attorney Terry Hurst.
Here.
City Administrator James Fincham.
Here.
Thank you. We everyone has had a chance to look over the meetings of the previous meeting, minutes of the previous meeting, the regular session, October 13th, 2020. If there are no additions, deletions, subtractions, we'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I make a motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the board to approve the minutes of the previous meeting from regular session, October 13th, 2020. It has been properly seconded. We'll approve by the normal sign of aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Proclamations and a recognition of citizens by the mayor or any alderman. Have none. We now have our communications from the city administrator, Mr. James Fincham.
Thank you, Mayor. Since the last meeting, we've had 2 employees to test positive for COVID. We had 5 or 6 we had to quarantine, and everyone is now back to work. At the last meeting, in the county, we had 84 positives. We've seen a spike since then. It topped out at 218 on November the 2nd, and as of today is at 146. And we've had 22 deaths in the county. We also did, in the past month, we have done training. HR went around and did training with the departments on COVID, the latest updates, the best ways to protect themselves and each other while working, and hopefully we can continue with the good luck and good fortune we've had so far. And I commend all the department heads on how they have kept that down in their departments, and I feel like that has to be a tribute to them staying on top of it. And based on the information I have, the employees are doing really well about policing themselves and fussing at somebody if they're not doing what they need to do, and hopefully that'll continue, and we can keep on down the path we're on. In the past month, we also did a demolition and removal of a condemned house on Clifton Heights. I think most of y'all are familiar with it. Most of y'all have had complaints on it at one time or another in the last couple of years. We did everything we could do to work with the property owner to try to salvage the property, but we just couldn't get any cooperation, and so ultimately we tore it down. And so it's gone. He has moved to a spot out in the county, and I wish him well.
Do you really?
Well, I hope he does good where he is. That way he won't come back. But we have taken care of that, and we have put that on our social media page of before, during, and after photos, and we've also sent it to the Plain Talk to get that in the paper. It's our goal to hopefully make people aware that we mean business about this stuff, and this is just the first step of many, whatever we have to do to clean up our neighborhoods. Today we blocked off a vacant lot. The property owner worked with us on that. They didn't live near the lot. They live in town, but not near this lot that they owned. And we cleared folks off of it 2 or 3 times. We had tents on it. At one point we had campers on it. At another point we moved all that, and then they had started sleeping in cars on it. And we'd had reports, the police department had and has been working on, that there's been drug activity taking place on it. And we have barricaded that property to keep people from getting on it, and we have posted it for no trespassing. If we catch somebody on it now that it is posted, we can charge them with trespassing. And all that was with the consent of the property owner, working with them And then everything that we did was on the right-of-way. We didn't get onto their property and do anything. Everything we did was on the city's right-of-way.
Hey, the people in Clifton Heights communities asked me to relay the message to you, how much that they appreciate taking care of that business over there.
Well, I'm glad we finally got it done. I just hate it took us so long to get it done, but we not trying to make excuses or blame for it all, but where Vida got sick, we had months there where we didn't have any authority to do anything because the city court was shut down. First we had the COVID shut down, and then she got, of course, gravely ill, and so that held up the process. If the good Lord had seen fit to spare her that, we could have done this a lot sooner. But it is what it is. We got it done, and hopefully that we're keeping an eye on it. We're afraid he'll try to come back to it at some point, so we're trying to keep an eye on it.
We're still looking at those buildings in the middle of town.
That's going to be the next thing we try to do, because it's going to be more expensive.
Right.
We're just kind of waiting till make sure our money builds up, because our money's coming in have been good so far. We only had one down month, and the rest of the time our monies have been coming in good during this downturn. And so that's why we've been bringing stuff back in to the budget that we had taken out, because we're feeling better about, but we're doing it a little at a time, not bringing it all back at once. And that's going to be something that we're going to have to let our money build up a little bit. But yeah, that's going to be probably the next thing we do is going to be those properties downtown. They're going to be much more expensive, and it's going to be much more of a challenge because it is downtown right along the road, and got another building that's attached, and so it's going to be a little bigger task. But that's probably going to be what we do next. Will be that. And then finally, last week, Kendall Williams came and spoke about an issue on Martini Street about the possibility of a adjacent business creating that's yours, it's ringing, House. We looked into that, checked with Dan Hawk, the state planner, and they cannot do that. There are ordinances in place that protect residential areas from commercial areas, and so I've got copies of the ordinances on that, and I've got Dan Hawk's letter and everything, so that can't happen. So we've answered that question. That's all we got. Unless there's any questions.
Have you spoke with Mr. Williams and told him that, or?
No, I haven't spoke with him. I told the people that had contacted me, I have spoke with them.
Okay.
Some folks in the neighborhood that had asked me to look into it, I have contacted them. I have not contacted Kendall, and I mean, he never did contact me. I just heard him in here, which that's not an excuse. It's just that I had their numbers and stuff because they had called me about it, and I contacted them and let them know. And they were very relieved, the folks that talked to me about it. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Next on the agenda then is consideration of appointment to the Newport Housing Authority Board. Ms. Regina Thornton has decided that she did not want to be reappointed to that board, and we have a candidate that has been forwarded. It's sitting in your book. You can see the letter from the utility board.
I make a motion that we appoint Ms. Sheila Pruitt to this board.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the board to appoint Ms. Sheila Pruitt to the Newport Housing Authority Board. It has been properly seconded. Are there questions to the motion?
You make it good.
Okay. All right. If no other questions, then we will feel approved by the normal sign of aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Hearing none, Motion carries. I don't think Ms. Pruitt is not in the audience, but she will be notified. Thank you. Next on the agenda is reports from committees, members of council, and other officers. Tanner Preservation Alliance.
We did have a meeting and we talked about what should be painted on the side of the building, so I feel like we're really close to being in a good space if that's what we're talking about. Because we've come a long way. But Walter State's wanting to be in there in December and do class in January. Lucas has already moved some stuff in. I told Carlene the seniors group, they've already been plotting out where they're going to put their things. Data drop will go in starting Monday, and there's just little things here and there, but we're in the parking lot will be the exclamation point, and that'll
The veterans, little building, their little.
yeah the veteran Rob Watkins been coming in there. He's already got his people talking to them about where they're going to put their space. So it's, again, like I said last month, I didn't think we'd get here, but so close.
Yeah.
Do you have a target date, Gary? Gary, do you have a target date?
We're planning I guess what you want to call the ribbon cutting, and that'll be around their paving, Thanksgiving-ish is when Joe was thinking he'd get to the paving to do the parking lot, and then after that, so sometime in December. Hopefully it'll be, unseasonably warm. You can go out and do one that day. But yeah, I would think that would be it, because that's when the building's going to look the best to do the open house and all that. But even once we get in, I feel like there's still, because once we're open and Walter State's running, the partnership's in there, the seniors are in, the veterans are in. Next phase is to get the welcome center area open, because we didn't necessarily have money to budget for what that was. I don't even know what that's going to be. That's going to be conversations we have about what all does it look like, what all goes in that area, how do we serve the people that come in there, and then after we do that, then we start having conversations about the museum piece. So, we're probably looking at adding capacity into that building for all the things we plan to go in there over the next several months. But sometime early December, we're going to have done the brunt of the rehab work.
Thank you.
And for those of you who have not actually been in the building, you'd like to see it, I think you'll be very pleased with what you see in the building these days. It was surprising to me. I didn't realize there was that much space in that building. Having went to school there for 8 years, I still didn't know. But it looks really good. They did a really good job. Okay. Any other questions? We have no old business, unfinished business. Item A is consideration of second reading of ordinance number 2020-08, amending the City of Newport Municipal Code, Title 12 Building, Utility, etc. Codes, Chapter 1 Building Code, Section 103 Schedule of Permit Fees.
Well done, Mayor.
So you don't want to read that into the record?
You read it perfectly.
Okay. All right, I'm going to leave the item B then for you. Do we have consideration of item A?
Guess we need to make a motion to
Yes.
item A.
Yes.
Make that motion.
All right. Okay, we do.
Second.
Yeah, we do have a motion on the board to approve, and I'm not going to reread that, but item A, and it has been properly seconded. Any questions to the motion? Hearing none, we need a roll call, please.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Aye.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. And item B, I will leave to our city attorney.
Yes, sir.
So he doesn't feel left out.
You did a great job. I will read the caption into the record. It's ordinance 2020-09, an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the city of Yes, Mayor. An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of Newport, Chapter 3, General Provisions, Section 309, Signs, Prohibited Signs, Electronic Reader Board. And that's the caption, Mayor.
Questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Say.
All right, we do have a motion on the board to approve item B, consideration of second reading of ordinance number 2020-09, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Newport, Chapter 3, General Provisions, Section 309, Signs, Prohibited Signs, and Electronic Reader Board. It has been properly seconded. Are there any questions to the motion? If not, we'll approve by the normal sign of aye. Aye. Any nays? Hearing none. I think we need a roll call vote.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 9 is new business. Consideration of the first reading of ordinance number 2020-10, budget amendment for the City of Newport. You have that amendment in your book.
Mayor, I'll read that caption. It's ordinance 2020-11. No,
That's 2010.
2010. Yes, sir. 2011, the grammar school. 2010, an ordinance of amending the annual operating budget and capital program of the City of Newport, Tennessee, fiscal year 2020-2021.
Motion to approve ordinance 2020-10 as written.
Second. Did I hear a second?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We have a motion on the board then to approve the reading of ordinance 2020-10 budget amendment for the City of Newport. It has been properly seconded. Are there questions to the motion? Hearing none, we will approve, well, we'll need a roll call.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, consideration of first reading of ordinance number 2020-11, budget amendment for the Newport Grammar School.
And Mayor, the caption of that is ordinance 2020-11, an ordinance of amending the annual operating budget and capital program of the City of Newport, Tennessee, fiscal year 2020-2021 for Newport Grammar School.
Need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to accept the 2020-11 amendment.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the board to approve on the first reading of ordinance number 2020-11, budget amendment for the Newport Grammar School. It has been properly seconded. Are there any other questions to the motion? If not, we will have a roll call for approval.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. And item C is consideration of amending the general orders for the Newport Police Department.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I bring that to y'all tonight to try to clear up something that's gone on forever. We've let policemen go to work, side jobs forever, in uniform, sometimes with a police car, and that falls on the chief of police to allow certain things like that to happen. And what this does, this puts us in line with several agencies from throughout the state. I've checked with major metropolitan areas, small cities, the state highway patrol. What this does, it sets up premium overtime for those special assignments. I mean, you see troopers sitting on the interstate in work zones. Example, today, had they come to do the red lights at Weigel's, that got canceled, we would have had to have 2 officers there on premium overtime. What this does, it allows us to put in place a contractual agreement with those people to pay us back for our overtime that we're paying these officers. And the reason you set it up as premium overtime at time and a half for whatever hours they're there is that if it's today's assignment's guarding the stockyard, not many people's going to sign up for it when they can sign up across the street and watch Jeannie Birdwell's house. So, it's an incentive to take these jobs, and it also brings us up to par. If y'all noticed when they were paving the Cosby Highway, Highway Patrol did that contract to do those services. What this does, it allows us to put officers, when they call us to do those jobs, it gets us some reimbursement. Instead of the city having to pony up the overtime for them, it gives us a plan and an incentive to get these people to come work and take those jobs. And it's not like it's going to be everyday's business. I mean, I'll give you examples. Walmart, traffic control in the work zones. Some construction companies come, they were maybe even putting in a water line down there, a drainage line, they might hire us to be in that work zone to slow people down. It doesn't affect us going with Tim's crew or Ben's crew. We're still going to do that. But this just gives us a way to recoup some of the monies, and it sets up a detailed scale of $30 per hour, and I think $35 per hour for a supervisor if one's required. And it also has a plan in place if we use a car for anything other than driving from my house to the work scene. Say, for example, I'm sitting in a work zone with the blue lights and not on and the motor running, then there's a pay that comes for that too. So all this does is brings us up to par. I've talked to Mr. Hurst, we've talked with Tina, we've talked with Missy and HR, I've talked to MTAS, I've talked to, I think about anybody else that listened to me about this, and we're not doing anything that's not done most everywhere else. The only thing I saw much different was some places pay double pay, which I wouldn't come here and ask y'all to try to make that happen, and some of them actually contracted off to a different place and it cost them like $45 an hour. But I'm just asking that we do this so we can have an incentive for our guys to work these details and help the city recoup most of the monies that might be spent.
We had to have you several times on these railroad crossings, and if we didn't have the police.
And I'll give you an example there. Back then, when I worked patrol, they ponied up a check and sent me a thing to turn into the IRS. I don't know if I did or not. That's been so long ago. But this takes care of the taxes. The only thing it doesn't do, it doesn't pump up their retirement. They've made that abundantly clear. I think one agency, when this first started happening, may have had a guy make like $90,000 one year, which was like double his salary, and TCRS said, no, that don't work. So it doesn't bump up their retirement, but instead of an officer being out here, and I'll give you another example, I sign on to work for Walmart, and they're going to pay me $150 for a detail. Well, guess what happens if I get up there and break my thigh? Some guy comes running by, I try to catch him, break my thigh. Insurance probably won't protect me. Workers' comp probably won't pay me. And MTAS and our public entity partners is the other one I want to mention we talked to. They tell you you can do it or you can't do it. You can let them contract on their own. But even if we did that, using our equipment, wearing our uniform, driving our car, we're still going to get drawn into the lawsuit, and we're still going to have some liability because we're authorizing them to work in that position. And all of these jobs will have to be contracted to the city administrator. And as an example, I'll tell you, if Progressive Electronics comes in here and says, Mr. Fincham, I want to pay 2 officers to work this traffic control at the intersection, then the minimum would be 4 hours per officer. And then the car would be attached. They'll do an estimate sheet, which doesn't lock us into the price, and then they contract to pay the city of Newport back for those hours worked. I hope I didn't muddy that too much.
Makes sense.
But we would request that you do that, and I want to go on record as saying this is not to hurt anybody. This is not some negotiation to try to get me anything, because I promise you, if I come out at 3 o'clock in the morning and have to do a detail, I get the same pay I got if I stayed home in the bed. So it's not to help me, it's not to make any money for me, it's not bad negotiations, it's just the best I could get reaching out throughout the state.
Okay, you've heard the presentation. What is your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second, been properly seconded, and for consideration of amending the general orders for the Newport Police Department. Excuse me. Please have a roll call, please.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Arminger.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
Thank y'all for what you do. I see a lot of you boys out, and girls out, doing a good job.
If I could, while we're here, I'll introduce you to one of our newest police officers, Mrs. Lindsay Lauder. She, this week, came off of probation, so she's an official hire now.
So congratulations. All right, next item on the agenda then is bids and purchases and expenses, and consideration of bids for add-ons for the leafer truck for the street department.
Yes, this is for our leaf truck, and it consists of a tailgate, a safety tailgate that can be controlled from the inside of the cab. And I also would like to have the extended warranty added to it, the 5-year warranty. That there was an oversight that they didn't add that in to the original.
So the grand total is $79.86?
Yes,
that
and we
with-
do have that.
Is that with the warranty? Or?
Yes, with the warranty and with the tailgate, the safety.
Okay.
And we do have the funds for that.
Okay.
Make the motion, we accept. Is Bobby already do it? You okay.
Okay. We have a motion.
You second? Thank you.
Executive Profit. Okay, we do have a motion on the board to approve the tailgate add-on for $7,986. It's been properly seconded. We just need a motion to approve, please. We have a motion to approve. We need a approved by the normal sign of aye. Aye. And all opposed. Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Ben, for what
Appreciate
y'all do too.
Now we have comments from citizens.
I just wanted to interject one little thing here. Many years ago, Coach Prophet will remember this well, we took the Carson Newman football team up to the Tanner High School, then wasn't named the Cultural Center yet, and we had Miss Essie Barton up there as our guest and painted that building. And I tell you, we thought we'd really accomplished something, but just from looking in the windows, I just want to thank you all for the efforts you put in, and Gary and Miss Carlene and everybody that pitched in any way. Thank you for helping bring that thing up and helping it stay in our community.
Thank you, Chief. Any other comments? All right, then we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.